Let's see here. We're gonna put up a
I love that
picture
laugh.
right here. Here we go. We have with us tonight Michael Evans.
With
Gonna
an
bring him
S.
on in.
Grrr.
Hello, Michael. How you doing?
Hi.
Um, hey Michael, you're on mute, buddy.
Oh, here I'll unmute him. I think I have to.
Oh,
Oh
Fucking
no,
it
wait.
up.
Actually,
There
you
you
do.
go.
There you go.
Oh, there you
You're
go.
good.
yeah.
What's going
You're
on,
good.
y'all?
You're good.
Hey there.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh man,
Not
y'all
much.
had me coming after the magician, man. That's a lot of pressure. That's a whole. I gotta find me a. Got me a. You know what I'm saying? There you go.
Where'd it
Boom, voila, magic
Ta-da.
trick, magic trick. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, hey, but Matt, he's lying. He's talking about some magic tricks don't get women. Hey, all I need is one card trick. Going to VIP, I'm getting all the strippers pregnant, every last one of them. That's all I need. All I need is one card trick. I don't need a whole bunch of tricks. Just one. Just one. That's all I need.
Wow. So like you play in Vegas and stuff?
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. On the
Yeah.
corner. On the corner where? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I
I
mean,
work. I work.
I
He
mean,
was being modest. He said he
On
did
the
well.
strip with Minnie Mouse, or was it the awful generic version of Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse? Wait, am I the only one that
yeah,
thinks
we
about
all
those
just
characters?
I know we all left the building.
You
They're
talking
like,
about?
we,
You talking about Simpsons? You talking about the
you
Simpsons?
know, on the
Itchy and
strip where they
scratchy.
have like showgirls for pictures and like these like generic versions of
oh yeah,
characters
I
with
know you're
like
talking
Oh
about.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Transformers,
Yeah.
but they can't go by the name or else they get sued.
Oh yeah. They have the
Yeah,
Oh,
she,
off-brand.
she's talking
I'm the
about the yeah,
Like
transmogrifier.
it's
yeah,
like Mickey Rat.
yeah.
Like they even made a joke about it on Arrested Development. All right, never mind.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, they got Super Guy. You know the dollar store costume they got. Yeah, yeah.
Spooder
I
Man.
get you. I get you. Scooter man.
I'm Spooder Man.
So, who was the first stand-up comic that you saw that really, influenced you or inspired you?
Oh man, that's easy. That's Sinbad, hands down, man.
Oh, there you go.
Sinbad is such a timeless comic because like I remember watching him when I was 7, and he would kill me at 7. I mean, I'll be in stitches laughing, and I watch him now at 36, and he's still hilarious to me. Like even
Oh
like
yeah.
I mean, his stand-ups are like timeless. Like you can, and the fact that like if they're for like everybody, you can. He got kids laughing,
Yes.
grandparents, adults. You know, not many comics were able to do that at
Yeah.
that time because you had at that time you had Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, all of these comics that were coming out that were like vulgar. And they were only they were only appropriate for certain
Yeah. Audience.
audiences members and whatnot. But he was
Yeah.
just like killing. I mean, it was funny. He wasn't like I felt like Bill Cosby was like. It was kind of like I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't like it was kind of like oh, that's Grandpa
Yeah.
up this.
Oh yeah.
It was a witty comedy. And,
Exactly, but Sinbad
Sinbad
was doing.
fantastic. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like
Yeah.
just because when I was in school at Tuskegee in undergrad, he was. I remember he came to Morehouse. He would come and visit. He came and toured all of our schools, and so I didn't. I'm sorry. I want to. It's exciting. I think of all people we've ever talked about, and certainly we talk about comics of color. Like Sinbad doesn't get all the
Oh
love
yeah.
Yep.
that
No,
he
Sinbad's
deserves.
awesome.
And
Oh, yeah.
very much, I'm so sorry about the background issues. Doesn't get all the love, and he was such a just very just a great, like you said, like all around. Cosby. I think Cosby was a certain generation's family comic, and then
Right.
Sinbad became another generation's
Yep.
family comic.
Yep.
I always love his bit about how they were in the deuce and it had that big dashboard. You could put the kid on it and
Yeah.
everything. And you just stop and the kid's in the other
Yeah.
seat now. It's like,
Yeah,
are
get
they
a
okay? They
train,
still breathing? Okay, never mind. Let's keep going.
I just love the fact that he was like the first comic that I saw that added like elements to his stand. It wasn't just him talking. Like the fact that when he did the bit about his mom with the rubber hand, like "Don't you run from me," he had like the echo and the mic and everything. I was like, I've never seen that before. I'm like, that's fucking amazing. So I was like, it really had a huge influence. Like if you ever see my stand up, I'm like all over the place. I'm just super animated and active, and I kind of got that from him because he made it like next level as far as how he presented
yeah.
comedy. What it wasn't just a guy up there talking. I mean, he made it like made you feel like you were actually there in the moment for his experience, whatever he was talking about, joke
Very
wise. But
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but
was
I
very
would say it'd be a close tie between him and Tommy Davidson. Tommy Davidson, that's another guy for me. Tommy
Oh.
Davidson. I feel like Tommy Davidson with
Oh,
me,
geez.
like I feel like he just aged as far as his jokes. Like if you watched his older stuff versus now, you could tell that he just progressed. Like I mean, now he's like on a whole nother plateau. To me personally, as far as like
Oh,
how
yeah.
his jokes are. especially how he presents it. I kind of like I look back at my own stuff and I kind of look at how I do my jokes versus his. I'm like, y'all feel like I'm kind of low key biting him a little bit because I feel like because I love the way he would take a bit and just stretch it, but it would be still funny. It wouldn't get old. It wouldn't get stale. Like he was still able to keep the audience's attention. Especially when I don't know if you saw the bit he did about the cowboy what do you call it when you the square dance? He did a square dancing bit. And it was like a 7-minute bit, but it was hilarious from beginning to end. It didn't get old. He kept adding more stuff to it, and I was like, "Yo!" I said, "I want to do that. Like, I want to be that comedy or that comedian where like if I do a bit, I can do something where it keeps building on top of each other over and over." So it's like, you know, what they tell you in comics, oh, don't do a bit for too long, it'll get stale, da da da. But he just was like, "I'm gonna do this shit for like 8 minutes. I'm gonna still make y'all die laughter, doing it." But
You know, it's crazy that a lot of people are saying character stand-up is dead, and people are saying you shouldn't do it, but in reality, it's the most memorable time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've had
Absolutely.
so many people tell me, yeah, but characters are so overrated. But the reality is they're the funniest.
Yeah. Yep.
You have people telling you stuff that's worked for decades that's no longer working. Like even Kevin Hart, come on. All his specials, he was so outlandish and outrageous, and Bernie Mac, like all these
I love
legends
Bernie.
put so much energy and created these crazy personas, and I completely understand like deadpan and all that stuff, but to say character comedy is dead, I think is complete bull.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorite character comedians of all time, and I don't know how many of you know this, we were just talking about in a class I was in over the weekend, Emo Phillips. How many of you know of Emo Phillips?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. He was a very small audience comic, but he would talk like this, and he'd have weird stuff going on the whole time. You know, he would tell a joke about how, like, his parents said, never go to the cellar door, never go through that cellar door. And one day I went out, and you know what I saw? Trees and birds.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He was on
very big in the 80s. He's still doing his thing, by the way, still touring.
Yep. Yeah.
I was just going to say, anybody who says that character comedy is like dead or overrated, it means that they haven't seen a good character lately.
Right.
Like that's what that is. That's all it is. That's just, that's hate because
But you know what? It's hard. I've rarely ever see it honestly in stand-up. I think the closest thing I've seen to a really good character comedy is Goat versus Fish, who is, if nobody knows who that is, if you do get a chance to see one of his shows, the most outlandish crap you could ever see. But he's so good. Cartoon Network keeps bringing him back to events. So if anybody knows Goat versus Fish, really good. But I've rarely ever come across. Have you guys come across some characters?
There has been open mics. I saw a guy do a caveman act, Og, son of Og, he was actually pretty hilarious. And then
I saw a guy. Well, here's the thing. I know that he's not trying to make a living out of it or any, or necessarily, we haven't seen him on a stand-up stage. Like, I mean, at least in my generation, I've seen his work. Like Jim Carrey, like even his, what he's embodied his Joe Biden on Saturday. And that's exactly where I was headed. That's exactly where I was headed. Like everybody can't do that. Like to me, and I have all the respect for oh my gosh, what's his name? All of a sudden, Kim Basinger's ex-husband.
Oh,
that's
Alec Baldwin.
I have all the respect for his Trump. I have all the respect for the fact that Saturday Night Live, brings him back for that. But I still feel like pound for pound, and they're both. Don't misunderstand me. They're both in the stratosphere in their terms of their gift, but I still think that Jim Carrey was a better Biden than Alec Baldwin's Trump. And that said, I still think that Alec Baldwin's Trump is stratosphere level.
Here's the crazy part, though, and the reality is, if you catch interviews, these are very draining things to do. Character comedy is so draining, which that's why they claim that Chris Farley fell into drugs, because that was the only thing that energized him to keep this persona he had. Like he's been like that since he started improv. But they claim drugs helped him so significantly. I mean, if you look at Belushi, everyone that's had who unfortunately passed because of an overdose, they're incredible people that are so good in getting to characters. Even Jim Carrey still he's seen as this weirdo, but he's so good at what he does. I can only imagine how draining it is to have that high level of energy.
Yeah.
Wow. Michael, what would you say is a cornerstone of your work as a comic? Like if you so that this is like any, whether it's storytelling or whether it's characters or act outs, or kind of like every, like Forever iconic is obviously like Eddie Murphy when it's Vivian, his his dad and his mom, and what would you say is a cornerstone of your own work? At this point you're still obviously young man, so we got a road ahead. We got a good road ahead, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say mine is definitely observational. Like I have a way of like seeing something and just twisting it to my own comedic viewpoint of things. Like I can see something, somebody can see a tree, but I'll see like, I don't know, Steve Harvey or something. Or this is an example. I see something really odd, like really like abstract. People are like, how do you even look at that and get that? I'm like, that's how my mind works. It's just it's weird. But that's kind of like my cornerstone where I'll get a joke. Like for example, I do a bit where I talk about how black people aren't safe from anything nowadays. They're not safe from angry white women. They're not safe from the police. They're not safe from flying helicopters and whatnot. So I do this bit where I talk about how what's gonna be next to get us. Electrical home appliances. And so I do like a bit where I do like a newscast where I talk about how there's this like exploding toaster that kills Jabari Jackson on Martin Luther King Avenue and whatnot. And people are just like, how did you get the toaster with it? I'm like, look, man, don't even. I'm like, look, my mind just is in a whole other space. But I would say that's my cornerstone is that like today I did open mic today. Everybody kept telling me, like, man, your energy is crazy. Like, your energy is what brought me into the joke. If you would have brought it a different way, I would have never been invested in that. So I say along with that is definitely my energy for sure. Like, when I go on stage, it's like a whole different person. Like, I know there was one mic, I think Stephen may have been for that one mic where I had a comic that was like, I went on, and then she went on, and then she was like, I'm sitting here looking at Michael, and he looks so chill as he's sitting there. But then when he goes on stage, he's just like, I'm too high for this. He got too much fucking energy. And I mean, it's like, and to me, I feel like it's just normal. I feel like it's me being normal, but everybody else is like, nah, man, you out there, man. You got some big ass energy. But yeah, I would say that's definitely my cornerstone is just being able to see something and look at it a different view, give it a comedic spin, and obviously still make it funny on stage once I present it to the audience. So
I mean, with this beard, if I bring out too much energy, they think I've got a bomb planted somewhere.
oh man,
Oh my lord!
Well, I wish I had your beard, man, because I feel like I can't grow up. I feel like this is like I feel like this is like the Newport cigarette mascot beard. Like I feel like I feel like this is like the struggle beard. Like this is like your beard is like the Harvard beard. Mine's like the Vibe beard.
No, yours is the Idris Elba beard. It's a very nice beard, my friend.
To what you said about energy, that's one of the biggest compliments I always get from day one. And I tell people I celebrated 1 year yesterday of like, I call myself a born again comic. It's a whole long story, but because I tried comedy and I backslid from the church, right? But then I came on back. I've been clean and sober and comedic for a solid year. And but that's one of the biggest things that I take with me. They're like your energy. And I'm just like, I realize I feel very connected with you on that because I think that matters. I think that when you come into a space, whether it's a mic or whether you lining up with Kevin Hart or whether you lining up with somebody bubbling, you want to bring the energy just to bring people in there with you, know. And so I think that's a powerful piece of the comedy puzzle for sure.
Now, what do you think motivates you to have that energy? Like, are you like the comedian that has the on and off switch that as soon as you're on, you're horrible, that go on stage and you're like, woo, I'm here? Or are you the type of person that's just really energetic, like 24/7?
Yeah, I'm always like that. Yeah, people think I'm lying when they see me on stage. They're like, he ain't like that. And they meet me on stage. They're like, he really like that. He really is. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He's still, because right now it's like 12 o'clock. I'm in Florida right now. I'm still like, y'all see me. I'm still, still high energy and whatnot. But I've always been like that. Ever since I've been a child, I've been a very energetic, charismatic, a person or whatnot. It just comes out in my personality. So the stage is kind of like an extension of that. It's like I get to kind of be myself on stage, but presented in a public format instead of just being, instead of just being me and myself and within my friends or everything else.
Right.
And it was crazy because I got like the best compliment ever tonight after I did my open mic. I just started in July. Like I'm still a fairly brand new comic. So,
Same here.
Oh,
July
nice,
as well,
man.
homie.
Hell yeah, man. What day? The 14th?
July 1st, actually, because it was
Oh.
right after Stefan's party in June.
Yeah.
No, my
Yeah.
birthday
So,
is July 9th.
oh damn. So I'm wrong, but I drink. Um. So,
He was drunk.
So close to
so
closest, almost, Michael.
yeah,
Almost.
close. I thought it was July 1st, and it was at the end of June. But yeah, July. So this guy
Yeah.
brought me in.
Nice.
You're a vet, which that's what is that like? Have you met other veterans that are comedians right now during this pandemic? Like I know very few, which is why I always love when I come across a veteran that does
Oh, yes.
stand up.
And thank you for your service.
No, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
I always when I get that, it's such an awkward thing. I don't want to say like you're welcome. I'm gonna be like, bro, you're welcome. As I put on my cape and fly away, but I don't want to say thank you because then it sounds as weird to say thank you. You said thank you. It's like thank you exception going on. So, but
You can't out gratitude me.
I
Don't
know.
out-
I'm not to answer that, though. But yeah, it's to answer your question. Yeah, I do meet a lot of surprisingly. I do meet a lot of military or veteran comics. Surprisingly enough, I thought I'd be like the only few, but like every time I go to the open mic. Or I get like an ad from an Instagram, and it'd be like a guy who served prior in the Navy or in the Army. Or I know there's a couple guys in Tampa. They actually just enlisted with the Air Force, both of them. So now they're still going to do comedy while they're going to be enlisted. Probably gonna be that much comedy. Air Force, they're like, hey, my motherfucker, you ain't gonna be up there talking shit. We own your ass now. But yeah, surprisingly enough, I do meet a lot of veterans that do comedy. So I don't know if it's like I know for me it was like a release for me because I've always wanted to do comedy since 2009, but I never had the availability because military has you going all over the place, has you stationed here, stationed there, and then plus you got the whole like freedom of speech aspect where I'm only limited to what I can say, to what I really want to say. So I don't want to get in trouble with the Air Force, get kicked. So after I got out, I said I'm doing comedy like no matter what. I said,
So you were in the Air Force.
yes, yeah.
Okay. So we got the branch. How long did you serve?
12 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Very good.
yeah, I got mixed feelings with the Air Force, man. I don't want to get too far into it, man, but it just wasn't a great place for me. It started out okay, but at the end I was like, I gotta get out of here, man. Like this is like I got dreams to follow, and they were just like got the leash on me, and I was like, nah, man, I gotta.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I have to ask because I have some military family. You ever throw something at a coastie?
At a coastie? Talking about Navy? No, I never heard of that.
Oh no, I meant Coast Guard, but I heard from the Coast Guard fans that the Air Force and Coast Guard every once in a while clown on each other.
No, but I say Coast Guard, they don't get any respect. Like you go into like a building, you see like the big Air Force emblem, Navy emblem, all that. Coast Guard shit, small as hell. It's like right in the corner. I was like, damn, they think y'all dirty as hell. They got y'all in the back of the closet with the rest of the military props. I'm like, man, but every time I see a Coast Guard, I always make sure I'm like, hey man, we recognize you as a branch of service. A lot of them get real butthurt, like you always serving at a real branch. I'm like, we know you're a real branch, man. You don't have to. You got to show us your photo album of medals you got and be like, look, I served, motherfucker. Like, yeah, we know, man. It's a joke. It's a joke. Ha ha. But it's like, in all seriousness, you don't want to fight me. Like, come on.
That always actually interests me. It's almost like those rivalries are just there to kind of toughen each other up and kind of say, hey, we're together, but we're going to give each other shit because this shouldn't be the toughest thing you face. Is this?
Yeah. Because anything you'll see more Air Force and Army than anything else. Like Air Force and Army, we're like the stepbrothers every time. Because for me, but it's funny because at the end of my tenure, I started siding more with the Army because the Army is like the Air Force is like, oh, Army's dumb, da da da. They're like the dumbest branch. I'm like, yeah, but they do things with the more common sense. Like Air Force, we'll have like an instruction booklet to put a tool. All these extravagant words. Please place the tool exactly 2/4 of the da da da. Army just like put the screw in, turn it this way, and push the button. Okay, I'd rather have the Army way than the Air Force. The Air Force, I feel like I need a PhD degree to read this manual how to put this damn helmet together. Army is just like, look, we got 2 pictures and that's it, and then like a whole paragraph and that's it. The Air Force, you got a whole damn blog. I was like, why you make it so complicated, man? Y'all just
Keep
it's
it
like
simple.
yeah. So
what places have you been fortunate to travel to?
So at first I started out in Arizona, and then I was there for like 9 months. I'm sorry, I was in Florida. I was in Pensacola, Florida for 9 months for Intel Tech School. And then I went from there to Arizona for like a hot minute. And then from there to another part. It was pretty much two cities in the same state. And then I was in Tucson, Arizona for 6 years, and from there I went to England, which was like, oh my God, I did not want to leave England. I did not want to leave because England is like the gateway to everything. Like, I mean, you had like Germany, like Poland, France, Switzerland. Then it has this airline called Ryanair where you pretty much can pay like $10 to go like round trip, not like one way. Like you can pay just like 10. Yeah, and it was like, but the drawback is that the seats are like this small. You know, you can only carry one luggage, so it's like, well.
No bathroom.
Did you pull a Madonna? Did you pull a Madonna? Did you develop an English accent while you were there?
No, I did not. But I found out that we were shitty at doing American accents over there. Cause I thought I had it down pat. I was over there like, oh, this is so cool. I met a person over the British person for real. That was like, your accent's fucking shit, mate. It's fucking shit. And then I was like, excuse me. I thought I had a pretty good accent. They were just like, no, mate, no, it's absolutely horrible. I had to work on my shit for like 3 years. But the first time I got there, it's funny because like every American that comes there, like the first thing they do off the plane, they barely off the plane is, yes, anyways, oh my God, I'm in England. And my dad did that shit to me, and I was like, Dad, will you stop doing this shit, man? I'm like, this shit is. It was funny the first like 2 seconds.
You sound like a Cockney who's still trying.
Yeah, they hate that shit too. If you don't do it right, they hate that shit. They're just like,
Michael, to your point though, I did some study because I wanted to, like, I signed with a voiceover agent early this year, and like one of the first auditions I got, they wanted that, and they were willing to take someone to work with an accent. So I tried it. It didn't do bad, but then I began to study it. The biggest difference, I think, as Americans, we simply assume that because we can sound like it, that we're doing okay. But you were there. What I learned from, like, I found like a free webinar, a series of classes. It's really about cadence. The way that they can hear the difference very quickly is that the pacing and the cadence that we use, so we can imitate the words, but they quickly hear that we don't have the cadence because of just because of our own phonetics. We don't have it and we overlook it. And so as I was, looking, really trying, and I'm trying to go back to studying it because I think it's just, there are things you just want to challenge yourself and do. But for us, our ears cannot appreciate the difference. But for them, it probably sounds like a screeching owl because they're like,
okay.
It's like, what might you sound like you're trying to breathe between cheeseburgers?
Okay. So for people that don't know, I do voiceover too. But the most difficult accent that I still cannot, for the love of God, master is a Irish accent.
Irish.
Scottish, very hard.
It's a little easier, but for women, the pronunciation of certain words are completely different. Like, what's that Oscar winner girl? She's very young. She's been acting forever, like from Atonement. I can't even pronounce her actual name.
Hannah, Sorcy Ronan? No, Sorcy.
Sorcy or something. And it's not even spelled like that.
I thought it was Sunrise. Sunrise.
The girl from Hannah, the one that did the original Hannah movie.
She was in The Lovely Bones, which is a great movie. You watch once and then you go, I'm never watching that again. It was a good movie, but I'm never watching that again.
I did see The Lovely Bones. Very tragic stuff to watch.
It's funny you mentioned the Irish because I actually went to Ireland when I was there, and like the first person that I heard speak that, I felt like I needed like the yellow ball, like with the bouncing words. I was just like,
it's so animated,
right? It was hard.
You don't believe it's real.
Yeah, I'm like, how do y'all talk to each other? I can't understand what the fucking word. I feel like I need like a translator. Like, I get a translator to help me hear this man what he's trying to tell me because he's speaking English, but he's not speaking English. It's like a whole different type of English. But
Now the question about Ireland I have is, how are the Irish nachos?
I never had the nachos. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know if they even exist over here, like over there. Because over here, if you order Irish nachos in a pub, it's just nachos toppings on top of potatoes. And that's what they call it. So I've always wondered if you go there, you go, hey, I want to try these world famous Irish nachos. And they just look at you like, fuck you.
They might. You never know. You never know. It's if potatoes are a major commodity there, which I'm sure they are. I mean, I don't see it being impossible. Them just covering them in like, meat and cheese,
random ass food toppings to throw on top of it.
Oh yeah, you never know, man.
But it's crazy how we have like these staple dishes of other countries. Like if you go to a pub, like if you go to an English pub, like the staple dish is always fish and chips and potatoes. And then if you go to a German pub, it's sausages and like imagine I mean, how is it since you've actually been there? Like, are those actually staples, or is this their
Yeah.
version of
You will find literally a fish and chip shop on every fucking corner. I'm not talking about I'm talking about every corner. Like you turn around, fish and chips, fish and chips, fish and chips. I'm like, how many fish and chips do I need? Man, there's like 12 already. I already passed already. Like, I don't need all these many goddamn fish and chips. Like, it
Oh
was like
yeah.
too many fish and chips. Then it gets to the point where you gotta like pick and choose. Okay, I gotta narrow it down because there's already 15, 16 fish and chip shops. And then it'd be all next to each other too. Like you could have just spaced it down. Went a couple blocks over, it'd be like right next to each other, just fish and chips. I'm like, all right, I guess this is just the main dish one. But it wasn't all that bad though. Like I thought it'd be. Because like I said, I was an ignorant ignorant American going over there, so I'm like fish and chips. I'm thinking literal like chips and fish, and they bring it out to me, and I'm like, no, I say fish and chips. They're like, oh no, it's a fish and chips. I'm like, let me go Google this shit real quick. You ain't lying to me and shit. I looked it up, and I was like, no, they're not lying. This is fish and chips. And then I ate it, and I was like, not that bad. This is actually pretty good. You know, it's actually like fish and chips. So yeah, so it wasn't. They got a lot of staple stuff over there, but I will say a lot of shit's unseasoned. Like a lot of food is just not very appealing. There's only maybe a few restaurants that actually make really good food. But England, I remember being told that before I went over there. Yeah, a lot of their food isn't all that great. I thought it was just them hating, like, maybe there's somebody, maybe they just hated England, wanted something to shit on England about. I went over there, and I was like, they weren't lying. There's a lot of unseasoned, like, like servings over here, and I was like, y'all don't taste this shit? Like, this shit don't taste right. Like, you should add some salt or some vinegar.
Yeah, you would think a country that took over India like they did would
Yeah.
at least gain some spices.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was like, and I thought, I felt like there was like food fishing me. Instead of catfishing me, there was like food fishing me. I get ravioli or something Italian, they'd bring the food out, and I was like, there's no sauce in this. This is like you just poured out noodles and no water, no nothing. And I was like, what are y'all doing over here? But
I got a bottle up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stacey. Well, I got to bottle up some of your energy, man, and use it over here. I'm sick of telling people this hole in my roof is just a sun lamp. You know, seriously, you got some energy, but go ahead, Stacey.
Oh, my question was going to be, I mean, is it true that British drink their tea with their pinky up, like their tea and crumpets?
They don't do that, but they do have tea time. That is a real shit. I thought that was some bullshit, but they, no kidding, around 11 o'clock, they'll be like, I remember I was getting my car done because you had to go over there. I had my American car over there. So they had to reassemble it with the fog lights because obviously there's fog all the time in England. So I remember I was sitting in the waiting room and I saw the mechanics out there, all you hear is, they fix on the car. Then they come back out in the lobby room and they said to the reception, like, hey, we have a tea time. We have a tea time. And I was like, oh, it's the real shit. Like, y'all really do tea time? Then they actually left out the damn shop like for like an hour. And I was like, this is some real shit. Like, y'all do really like a TV show type shit. They really do tea time over there. So that one was a surprise to me that they actually did tea time over there for sure. Not everybody does tea time, but it is a commonly known thing to see if you go to like a shop or like a office or anywhere where there's business being conducted. They do tea time for some of them where they just take an hour. It's really just a break, but they drink obviously tea during that time frame. But
yeah, they take it serious, man. That and their little biscuits they drink or eat while they do the tea. Oh yeah.
Well, and Anthony in the comments said room temperature beer, which by the way is okay. It is actually okay if you have British beer. It actually tastes good that way. The reason why we have to drink ours cold is because Budweiser and Miller sucks. And then you drink some actual British beer like Boddington's. You can have a Boddington's room temperature, and it's actually a good beer at room temperature. A little bit different.
Yeah, I'm not a beer drinker, so I wouldn't know. But I had friends that would tell me the same thing. That's why I'm laughing because they were like,
"That's why you have the energy."
Yeah.
Damn
it! It's funny. Yeah, for me, what fucked me up though was the driving. The driving was oh my god! Like I feel like now I can drive anywhere because obviously opposite side of the road, and they got the roundabouts. I remember like the first time I drove. When you normally drive, you doing all sort of shit. You checking your phone, you checking the email, you eating, you looking out the window and shit, whatever. And first time I drove in England, I was just like. The phone was blowing up. I was just like, I ain't answering that shit. No. I'm answering nothing. I ain't looking at the window. There was shit flying past me. I was like, no, I ain't looking at this shit. Because it was just like cars, and then the cars just fly by you. You be over there trying to get over as far as you can, but you want to hit the curb and shit. So you curb checking shit and hubcaps flying off. And I was like, yeah, the driving for me was probably the worst part. But after a while, like I think the first time I drove to I was there for like a week, and then my car finally got shipped in like a month after because I shipped it from America. And my happy ass was like, oh, this could be a great idea to go to London, just straight to London. Don't learn how to drive around the area, go straight. So I don't know how I made it there in one piece. I didn't crash or nothing like that. But after I drove to London, I was like, I can drive anywhere now. Because I mean, after you drive through London, I mean, there was like so, and then they don't even have like their signs. Like, you know, if you go to like a city, they'll have like a sign clearly to, like it's displayed like no turn on left, no turn on right, don't turn this way. It's like no sign. So you gotta like check Google Maps and like follow the car in front of you. Hopefully going the same way you're going, because that way you're not lost trying to follow this car because they got no signs on the road. So like the roads are all fucked up. But after driving to London, I was like, I can drive anywhere. No, I can drive any damn where. I could. It's yeah. So
They just do that to screw with tourists. It's their thing.
but they did a pretty good damn job. Yeah. That driver was rough.
So